The House of Representatives endorsed the government's policies and programs by majority yesterday amid stern objection launched by the main opposition, Nepali Congress. The Prime Minister also attended the question-answer session where he invited the wrath of the opposition by refusing to answer the questions as he termed them ill-willed and insignificant. Good morning, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha and these are the headlines of this hour. The House of Representatives endorses the government's policies and programs by a majority amid stern objection raised by main opposition Nepali Congress. Corruption watchdog CIAA remains silent on massive financial irregularities in Nepal Oil Corporation's land procurement involving former Executive Director Gopal Kharka. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo makes an unscheduled fleeting visit to Iraq amid growing tensions with Iran. Pompeo cancels a trip to Berlin to meet with Iraqi leaders. And Liverpool stormed into the finals of the Champions League with a surprising 4-0 comeback win over Barcelona in the second leg semi-final, brushes aside Barcelona 4-3 on aggregate. Let's begin with the national political updates. The House of Representatives yesterday approved the government's policies and programs for the upcoming fiscal year amid obstructions staged by the main opposition, Nepali Congress. The main opposition had been criticizing the government's plans since last week itself when they were announced. However, at the question-answer session held yesterday, the situation aggravated after Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli refused to entertain questions which he said were motivated by ill will, anger, and deemed them insignificant. Following the Prime Minister's statement, lawmakers of the main opposition stood from their benches in protest, citing the Premier was drunk on power. In the meantime, Speaker Krishna Bahadur Mahara announced the decision to approve the government's policies and plans, even as the opposition continued with their resistance. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has claimed that the government's policies and programs are far-sighted and practical enough for implementation during the question-answer session held yesterday. Premier Oli has said the government has done all the legworks needed to estimate the duration it would take to implement the programs before introducing them. Likewise, Prime Minister Oli also said that the use of the phrase "my government" during the President's address was done with due considerations to its meaning and clarified that the President was the guardian to the country and that the use of the phrase "my government" was not inappropriate. Premier Oli also urged all the concerned parties to not sensationalize the issue of Constitution amendment, citing it would be irrelevant with time. Welcome back. The infamous land procurement case involving Nepal Oil Corporation has been stranded at the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority. The oil corporation's executive director Gopal Kharka and several others were dragged into the multi-billion rupee scam as Kharka's team was alleged of procuring land many times more than the market price. The case was first probed by a parliamentary committee which referred the case to the corruption watchdog CIAA. However, delay in initiating action against the guilty party has given way to speculations whether attempts are on to give leeway to the culprits. The Nepal Oil Corporation bought lands in Chitwan, Rupandehi, Jhapa and Sarlahi for 2.23 billion rupees. However, government studies later found out that the amount had been 4 times more than the market price. Out of the 2.23 billion rupees, the corporation had used only 557.5 million rupees to pay the land's previous owner. The then parliamentary committee concluded that the massive corruption was involved in the procurement of these lands. There is a case pending at the special court against the main accused Gopal Kharka. However, the anti-graft body, which has been entrusted with the responsibility to initiate action against Kharka, has delayed the legal procedures for the past 2 years, citing that the investigation in the case is ongoing. Welcome back. It's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question. Why has the government failed to spend the budget allocated for the fund established for girls' education since 15 years? Your options are A, neglected, B, not in priority, and C, inactive stakeholders. The voting is on. Type in EWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's time now for the sports news.
Sports news.
Liverpool have stormed into the finals of the Champions League after a surprising 4-0 comeback win over Barcelona in the second leg semi-final at Liverpool's home ground, Anfield, overcoming a 3-0 deficit. Liverpool brushed aside Barcelona 4-3 on aggregate in the semi-final. Liverpool trailed by 3 goals coming into the second leg semi-final at Anfield after a 3-0 loss to Barcelona at Nou Camp last week. But Liverpool made a surprising comeback last night without their key strikers Mohamed Salah and Roberto Firmino, winning 4-0. Divock Origi gave Liverpool an early lead by scoring in the 7th minute. In the second half, Georginio Wijnaldum scored 2 goals, one in the 54th minute and another one 2 minutes later to give Liverpool a 3-0 lead. Divock Origi scored his second goal of the match in the 79th minute to send Liverpool to the finals of the Champions League for the second time in a row. And it's time now for our special segment, Laugh Out Loud.
आफ्नो कार्यकालको पहिलो वर्षलाई समृद्धिको इतिहास रच्ने आधार वर्ष बनाउन मेरो सरकार सफल भएको छ।
In a recent context, President Bidyadevi Bhandari referred to the government of Nepal as my government. This statement drew wide criticism from political fraternity. A debate had ensued whether it was appropriate on the part of the president to address the way she did. President Bhandari herself and the former president Rambaran Yadav had never used the term my government, so the statement has been a subject of ridicule. Meanwhile, regarding the same context, Prime Minister Oli has defended President Bhandari's my government statement. According to Premier Oli, my government means our government, just like how my country means our country. Australian politician Angus Taylor has been ridiculed on social media as he happened to reply to his own Facebook post saying how fantastic he was. Angus Taylor is the Liberal MP for Campbelltown and Energy Minister. He had posted a Facebook video announcing 1,000 extra parking spaces at railway stations in New South Wales. The news has been welcomed by many people on Facebook, but some eagle-eyed users spotted that Mr. Taylor had praised himself from his own social media account. Mr. Taylor replied to the post saying, "Fantastic, great move, well done Angus." His team quickly deleted his self-congratulatory comment. Journalist Anthony Caruina speculated that Mr. Taylor or his social media manager might have made the mistake because they have multiple accounts.
And that's all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur Television HD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a good morning.